So in the previous two videos, we looked at the reasons why it's harder for us to use this diaphragmatic breathing when we come to a seated position. So we looked at body image and how that can be related to holding patterns we may have. And also we looked at our posture and how oftentimes when we are seated, our pelvis can be posteriorly rotated, making the mechanics of this breathing a lot harder. We also looked at some exercises designed to increase our pelvic mobility so that when we are seated, we're sitting on our sitting bones and that our pelvis and spine are in the correct alignment. Also, we looked at some exercises to strengthen the core so that when we are seated in this correct alignment, it's not going to feel labored and we can sit there quite easily because the core and everything is stabilizing our posture. So now we're going to look at putting all of these elements together in a short routine designed for you to be able to use at home. Okay, so we start this routine off in a supine position, which is laying on our back. And as you can see, I've got an eye pillow that I'm using just to place on top of my belly button, and that's helping me to be aware of my belly moving. So it's helping me to breathe diaphragmatically. So as you can see, I'm not having anything under my head there, which is what I prefer, but please, if you would prefer to put a pillow under there to make it more comfortable, then please do so. So coming up into a seated position now, and we just come into this pelvic tilt which has been outlined in a previous video. So it's a beautiful exercise just to awaken the spine, and it's helping to create some pelvic mobility, so the range of motion from that anterior to that posterior tilt of the pelvis. Now this exercise can be done using a cushion underneath the bottom. It can also be done in a chair if a seated position is not available for you. So from here we're coming into a tabletop position, and we're going to come into our cat and cow movement pattern here. So this one is also outlined in the previous video. Just making sure that if this does hurt your knees at all, you can put anything underneath your knees to support you, a pillow or anything that makes this more comfortable for you. So we're just increasing our range of motion from our pelvis. And then we're going to come down into a plank position here. Now there's lots of modifications for the plank. If you look at the previous video, some other modifications are outlined, but the main thing is keeping our body straight. A good idea may be just to video or photograph yourself in this position so that you can make any corrections that you need. From here now we're coming into a locust posture, and we're just going to move nice and gently. So this exercise is helping to strengthen all those muscles of the back, which is going to help with stabilizing ourselves in our seated and standing position. So here we can see a few little modifications. So to make this, I guess, a little bit more challenging, to activate a little bit more of these fibers in those back muscles, we can use our hands and our feet. And if it feels comfortable for you and you don't have any back pain, then you can do this hold that I'm doing here whilst breathing. Now here's a great opportunity just to take a rest, and in this position here you may notice that you can see that I'm still breathing diaphragmatically here, and what I'm doing is I'm concentrating on breathing into the mat. So when I'm breathing in, my belly is pushing out into the mat. So even though I'm in this relaxed position, I'm still concentrating on my breathing and trying to correct my breathing here. From here we can come up into one posture that hasn't been outlined yet, and this is called child pose from yoga. There's lots of modifications for this one, but the basic premise here is that I'm releasing my lower back muscles. So from doing the previous posture of the locust, I come into this position, which is an opposite position. For those people that find it a little difficult to get into that position, you can see here I've got a modified position where you don't have to come all the way back onto your heels. Another good thing to do here is to breathe into the thighs. Now that may sound funny, but you're breathing into your belly and your belly's pushing onto your thighs in that position. So another great chance just to practice that nice, long, slow, deep breathing. So here I've just come back into a seated position. I'm just now just slightly moving back and forward, trying to feel my sitting bones here. And once I can feel my sitting bones, I'm then going to bring my hand and just place it onto my belly, just to ensure that I'm breathing using my belly. And then when I can feel that, I can take that away, and I can just sit now and concentrate on my breathing. So you can sit for as long as you feel comfortable. It's important never to exert yourself in any way. This is part of our relaxation training for mind flow, and so we shouldn't be pushing ourselves too hard. Now we're just going to finish off just in a supine position where we started, and I just used that eye cushion just to place over my eyes. And this is an important thing to note, is that when we're doing these routines, we want to make it a bit of a habit. And the best way to make these things a habit is to enjoy the experience. So anything that you feel is comfortable, please bring into your experience, into your practice, either music, candles, whatever that you feel that you would like to have. Now, for some people, finding the time to do these exercises and routines can be a bit of a challenge, but here's one that you can use while you're in the car. Now, this is to be used when you don't have to concentrate on your driving and you get those little moments of time, whether you're at the set of lights, or maybe you're in heavy traffic, or maybe you're waiting for a friend to come out of their home. It's the perfect opportunity to start to practice your breathing. Having a little sticker maybe on the steering wheel or on the windscreen will remind you, as when you do have those moments, you can use that time effectively. It's when we do this practice over and over that it becomes less conscious and more habitual, where the body will start to breathe correctly automatically, and this is where we want to be. Now, in entering the car, there may be a few little things that you want to adjust just to make sure that this exercise works effectively. So the first thing is just bringing the top of the chair more into an upright position. This is going to ensure that my spine is in the correct alignment. Here I'm shuffling my butt back into the rear of the chair, which is going to create this nice little anterior rotation of the pelvis, which is going to ensure that my pelvis and spine are in the correct alignment. And you can see that lovely curve in the lower part and the lumbar part of the spine. Now I'm just adjusting the seat belt to make sure it was over my belly button or just below my belly button, and this is going to serve as a guide similar to the eye cushion in a supine position, so I can feel my belly as I breathe in pushing into the seat belt, and that's going to help me to breathe correctly. So join us for the next video when we start to look at breathing correctly in the standing position. I look forward to seeing you then.